internet friends, how are y'all? Today's another weekly wrap-up. Y'all said you like these, so I'm excited to do them. It's been a busy week. We're taking out our baseball bats, working on our swing, and kneecapping the ministry of truth today, metaphorically, of course, because violence solves, well, a lot, but promoting it doesn't help us duck and weave around the algorithm. We're going to cover the Twitter files and discuss what they mean. Say hello to our favorite agent, who's now a foreign agent. We're going to talk about Jordan Peterson's crusade to end online anonymity. And finally, I'm going to give you an update on the whole Sam Bankman-Fried FTX fallout, and spoiler, it's just getting worse.
Talking about the deep state and things like that, which is a thread among conspiracy communities here in the United States, that there is this secret cabal here in Washington working to undermine the American people. It couldn't be farther from the truth as someone who works with and around public servants every day.
So there's already this idea, this allegation that there is anti-conservative bias on the platforms, even though there has been study after study proving, in fact, that often it's liberal voices that are being silenced, particularly minority voices on social media. So I think we're going to see more allegations of that.
Do y'all remember Nina Jankowicz, who was supposed to be in charge of monitoring disinformation and censoring U.S. citizens on the internet under the Biden administration? So I'm giving y'all some context. The DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, wanted Nina in charge of this because, quote, specific problem areas mentioned by the DHS include false information propagated by human smugglers encouraging migrants to surge the Mexico-United States border, as well as Russian state disinformation on election interference in the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine, end quote. By the way, did y'all see who is Time Magazine's Person of the Year? What do y'all think? Anyway, Nina called herself the Mary Poppins of disinformation.
Information laundering is really quite ferocious. It's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious by saying them in Congress or a mainstream outlet circus. Information's origins.
She still has a Ukrainian flag in her Twitter profile, so you know she's totally impartial. Not that I can read any of her takes on anything because she's blocked me on Twitter, but according to this totally unbiased Wikipedia take, in April of 2022, Nina was selected to head the newly formed Disinformation Governance Board of the United States Department of Homeland Security under the Biden administration. And because the appointment drew primarily right-wing criticism of Nina, tisk, 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 not 1 month later, the Disinformation Governance Board was shut down due to criticism of Nina's lefty leanings. And thus, Nina was out of a job. Well, now in an interesting turn of events, Nina has registered as a foreign agent. She's now a foreign agent for a non-profit based in the United Kingdom. Her registration documents show that Nina is now working for the Center for Information Resilience. According to its website, CIR is a, quote, independent, nonprofit social enterprise dedicated to countering disinformation, exposing human rights abuses, and combating online behavior harmful to women and minorities, end quote. So Nina's doing the exact same thing over in England, across the pond, cheerio, that she was doing over here. She's just doing it over there now.
There's this woman, Nina Jankowicz, who is going to be in charge of the board. She has said that she thinks the Hunter Biden laptop is Russian disinformation. So should we look forward in the future to her censoring internet traffic about the Hunter Biden laptop?
I think I noted exactly what the objective of the board is, including continuing the work of the prior administration. And the woman you noted has extensive experience and has done extensive work addressing disinformation. She has testified before Congress, testified in Europe. She has worked closely with the Ukrainians and has unique expertise, especially at this moment we're facing.
The reason I bring up Nina is that I really wanted to get her take on the Twitter files on Hunter Biden, since she took such a strong stance against the Hunter Biden story, saying it was just a Russian propaganda piece. In fact, last Friday, Twitter owner Elon Musk showcased Twitter's suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop story in what we're now calling the Twitter files, which is still an ongoing, developing story. But basically, during the final weeks of the 2020 presidential election, Twitter was instrumental in suppressing the story of Hunter Biden's laptop, the contents of which are essentially the president's son smoking crack and documenting his sexual relations with women, like some kind of menagerie, like a psychotic amount of pictures of him naked and engaging in relations. And there's evidence to suggest he abused his 14-year-old niece, Natalie.
One of the biggest news stories of the year has gone unreported in most major media outlets. The Twitter files released by Elon Musk are significant because they show that not only did senior staff at Twitter understand that they had no grounds to censor the story, but that they were routinely censoring accounts on the instructions of the Democratic Party.
Friday's coverage revealed that both the Biden and Trump administrations would contact Twitter employees to have specific accounts censored on Twitter. Yet the Biden administration had way more accounts and information censored because their politics aligned with the politics of the Twitter employees they were asking for favors. It turns out that Friday's initial report on Twitter's suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop story was highly censored, deleted, redacted, suppressed by James Baker, former FBI employee and Twitter's attorney who was fired by Elon Musk this week. Are you ever really former FBI, former CIA? I don't buy it.
The founder, CEO, former CEO, says if the goal is transparency to build trust, why not just release everything without filter and let people judge for themselves, including all discussions around current and future actions. Make everything public, and Musk's response in detail is most important data was hidden from you too, and some say may have been deleted, but everything we find will be released.
It was reported that James or Jim Baker was the one curating the initial dump of Twitter files to give out to reporters. So anyway, now Twitter's former CEO Jack Dorsey is calling for all the files to be released uncensored. Also, I just want to add that Jack Dorsey's email was leaked in this, and it's like a pizza email, very weird. The response to the Twitter files via the White House was that they were basically a nothing burger in old news, but the implications are pretty serious because we're watching what happens when big tech, big government, and big media all work in unison together.
I'm wondering if there was that communication there surrounding the Hunter Biden laptop story.
So I can't speak to decisions made by the campaign from here. That is not, it is a political campaign, so I can't speak from here. I'm covered by the Hatch Act, and so I'm just not going to comment on the question that you're asking.
And I'll be honest, my more cynical take is that nothing will happen as a result of this story. It's just a PR move for Elon Musk. And my take on him is a very complicated thing because I'm not saying what he leaked is untrue. I'm not saying any of that or it's unimportant. I'm just saying that it's possible he has other motives with Neuralink and the like that require your trust. And also this whole story with the Twitter files, it stokes tensions between the right and the left. More division, which I'm not saying is unwarranted either, but both sides are just the mafia and we're supposed to vote for their pre-selected candidate so they can tell us what to do and how much taxes to pay. Anyway, I found out something real interesting today. Fauci's daughter worked for Twitter up until very recently. According to the Fauci deposition, Allison Fauci worked at Twitter throughout the pandemic and now works at the Empower Project, a left-leaning nonprofit which, quote, helps communities, progressive organizations, and nonprofits leverage their personal relationships to build power and dramatically expand the electorate. And of course, news agencies picked up on this, and it's been reported that the nonprofit helps groups push the coronavirus vaccine. Like I said, mafia. We got to talk about Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson is a Canadian clinical psychologist and professor, and he's a media personality, and his daughter runs a very successful podcast. And listen, I know you'll like him. He's had some amazing sound bites out there. He's got some great takes, and he's very well liked and embraced by conservatives. He's incredibly influential. Incredibly. My mom watches him. Shout out to my mom. I've never been able to watch him myself, though. And I'm like that with a lot of influencers that are targeted at my particular demographic. I just find them absolutely unwatchable. Just a feeling I have that I can't really explain, even though I do watch his daughter's podcasts from time to time, and I do find it entertaining. So, Michaela, if you're watching this, you're not. But if you're watching this, get your dad to log off the internet. Unplug his Wi-Fi for a day. Jordan Peterson, who within the last week has interviewed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and I can't tell you how it went because you already know I didn't watch it, I just told you, but he's continued his crusade online to eliminate anonymity. He's done this several times. He's harped on the subject several times over the last couple of years, but here's what he said yesterday about eliminating online anonymity. quote, released my podcast with President-elect of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, today. The degree of cowardly, anonymous, anti-Semitic vitriol in the comments section is truly alarming. Pay attention, we're going down a very bad road in that regard. Many trolls claim that anonymity protects their free speech in quotes, by the way. In my experience, which is extensive, anonymity enables psychopathy far more than it frees invisible heroes. Contemptible cowards compromise the overwhelming majority, end quote. It's always been issues over individuals on my channel, but I just want to reiterate that Jordan is a thought leader, he's a culture creator, he's a conversation starter. This is why it's important for me to cover this. I'm not picking on him, but here are some responses to his call for the end of online anonymity. Why do we vote in private? In totalitarian and dictatorial states, anonymity is crucial for survival when you're critical of the state. My favorite response is, my privacy is more important than your comfort. And of course I want to know, what are you going to do when you know all the personal details of the big meanies online? What are you going to do? Call and have them fired from their job for being mean to you on the internet? Call their banks and tell them to stop doing business with the online trolls? That sounds very familiar to me. I want Jordan to discuss what anti-Semitism means specifically. What is a Semite and what is defamation versus saying things that are factually accurate that just hurt people's feelings? And why is it okay to criticize the policies of, say, Switzerland, but it's a hate crime to criticize those of Israel? And also, how'd you get that interview with Netanyahu and what were you compensated for it? Full transparency and disclosure. I do think we're seeing the slow roll of the end of online anonymity, specifically as it's marketed as something, tempting, like pay $8 for a blue check mark, which then connects your financials to your name and your name to your tweets. So it's still technically on a volunteer basis, but it could be a slippery slope. Finally, I'm going to give you an update on the Sam Bankman-Fried FTX case. If you are not familiar, if you want to learn more, I have a bunch of videos that I made on this in the last month. According to CNBC, quote, House Financial Services Committee Chair Maxine Waters told the panel's Democrats that she doesn't plan to subpoena former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried for him to testify at the December 13th hearing about the crypto exchange's rapid demise, end quote. But then Maxine Waters tweeted that CNBC's article was a lie. She said the subpoena is definitely still on the table, but I'm just saying, if you think anything is actually going to happen to this guy, like here's a picture of him with Maxine Waters, and here's a video of Maxine Waters blowing a kiss to either Sam Bankman-Fried or the lady next to him. Get real, this is pure mafia theater. This is script writing at its laziest point. Sam Bankman-Fried is literally right now going around giving talks to like the New York Times, and at the end of his stupid talks, all the journalists are clapping for him like he had just invented ranch dressing.
On behalf of everybody here and on behalf of the public, I want to thank you for engaging in it at a time in truth when I know you've been advised not to. So thank you so very, very much. Thank you. Sam Bankman-Fried, everybody.
And for me, this whole saga is further enforcing my initial analysis that they used Sam Bankman-Fried as the fall guy, used him to destroy trust in the private crypto sector so they could introduce their own solution. The Fed coin, the central bank digital currency, thereby eliminating any competition. Nothing is going to happen to Sam Bankman-Fried. I'm calling it right now. He's getting a slap on the wrist and framing it all on his little Dobby the Elf looking girlfriend. Meanwhile, life comes at you fast, but Agenda 2030 and the Great Reset comes at you faster because it was reported that Nigeria has banned ATM cash withdrawals over $225 a week to force their use of CBDC. They're attempting to push the Cashless Nigeria initiative. My problem with these crypto channels that did cover this story is that they're trying to sell you this, that, and the other while telling you this entire story. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I've been telling you for weeks what they've been up to. CBDC is the very definition of control over our society. You'll see this agenda rolling out over the next few months, undoubtedly, and it will not be a slow roll. It's coming to the United States alongside our fake elections and fake justice system. Are we just going to sit there and take it? I really hope not. So that's all I have for y'all today. I always look forward to reading your comments. Thank you so much for watching, subscribing, and supporting my channel on Patreon. Bye!